So we're still awaiting official confirmation from the Ukrainians that they have indeed accepted the terms of this deal. I'm reached out to a couple of sources in the Ukrainian government as well, who are still getting back to me, but it is widely reported now by a couple of news agencies citing sources with knowledge of the deal that this mineral deal between the US and Ukraine is going to be signed, and that Zelensky will be coming here to DC on Friday to sign that deal. Now, the last draft of this deal that we saw was seen by the Axios news agency, and in it, the US expresses its desire to keep Ukraine, quote, free, sovereign and secure. Now, it calls for the establishment of what's being called a reconstruction investment fund that will be co-managed by the US and Ukraine. In the agreement, it says the government of the United States of America intends to provide a long-term financial commitment to the development of a stable and economically prosperous Ukraine. It also adds that the fund will be designed so as to invest in projects in Ukraine and attract investments to increase development in Ukraine as well, especially in areas like mining and ports as well. But it also suggests that the US will recoup some of its expenditure that has been related to defending, reconstructing and returning Ukraine to its pre-war condition. Now, of course, there's no mention in there at the moment of security guarantees, but it's understood from a couple of sources that I've spoken to that basically the way this is going to work, and that the way that the Europeans want this to work, is that this mineral deal will be the kind of wider anchor that will keep the United States interested and invested in Ukraine to ensure that any further aggression from Russia is not a viable path. So the idea is that they want to get a ceasefire in place in the immediate term just to stop the fighting, at which point there will be European peacekeepers on the ground in Ukraine. Sources that I'm talking to say that this is still a very, very early stage of discussion and that there's not really much meat on this bone at the moment yet as to how this will look. But of course, Vladimir Putin, according to Donald Trump at least, has said that he's okay with European peacekeepers being on the ground in Ukraine. And I think that came as a surprise to everybody when Trump said that in the Oval Office on Monday. So there is still some fleshing out of how this deal will actually be implemented and the meaning of it. But the idea here for Ukraine is that they keep the US interested in interested in staying in Ukraine, and that will stop any kind of Russian aggression.